We are going to talk about a really powerful trait, which is absolutely necessary for transmuting desire into reality. This trait is the major component when it comes to really living your desire now, having it in the present, which is persistence. But the problem with this trait is with persistence is it is heavily misunderstood in the world. So persistent, the way it's understood is that you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep trying and you keep trying. This is not persistent. In fact, this is resistance. Keep trying, keep pushing is resistance. You're causing resistance. Persistence is, and persistence has a very specific definition, that you choose to hold that idea on the screen of your mind and you continue to stay with it, like you lock yourself in that idea. No matter what happens in the outside, you are still choosing that idea. That doesn't mean you push harder. That doesn't mean you try harder. Because in fact, if you're trying harder, what you're doing is you are trying to get your own how, and you don't know the how. That's the whole point. The way I see that we are meant to live our purpose and our vision and our self-actualization is, it's very similar to how our skin grows. So when we are like tiny babies, right? And what happens is that we have this tight, like smaller skin around us. But as we grow and turn it into adults, our skin doesn't stretch, like it doesn't stretch and rip apart. It grows very naturally that you can't even tell that your skin is growing. You cannot see it growing, but it's just growing naturally. That's how this process has to be. It has to be natural. It's not you pushing it. It's happening anyway. You have to allow it. That means you are not waiting for the proof. That means you are okay to surrender and you're trusting that the dots are connecting. That means that even when things happen in such a way that you don't think it is how it should be, you trust. I want to give you a very recent example. 2 weeks, I think 1.5 weeks ago, I got very ill. I had temperature, I was feeling really weak. And I completely surrendered and I rested. My whole routine, everything with the kids, everything had to stop. Everything had to get breaks. And even I have managed my team. I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't even tell my team what to do or the things that I give them and they process. I couldn't do any of that. But I completely surrendered. And when I completely surrendered, I had two choices. One, I fight it. And I say, I need to get up and what is wrong? Why it's getting delayed and all of that? Or one is, what if this is also the part of receiving? This is also the part of receiving. And what I realized is that when I was ill, I felt like somebody, I don't know who, started talking to me. And it started talking to me about all the evolution, all the ideas, incredible out of this world things that I can bring, cutting edge innovation and all the things I can bring to my programs, to my teachings, and to my work. And I know for the fact that I couldn't have come up with it because it wasn't my idea. Like, when you just thought of something and something happened so naturally. And when I got better, I literally made notes of every single thing. And I was like, this was a masterpiece. The reason I felt that I was actually sick, that I stop, I slow down, and I receive. But what our problem is, we think, and this is a big identity that I would love for you to evaluate for yourself, the more I do, the more I receive. No. If that was the case, all the billionaires would be burnt out, would be so tired, would be exhausted. It's not about the more I do. It's not about hard. I really want to talk about this concept of hard because it's so fascinating. Hard work. When it comes to hard work, the things that you think are hard work may not even be hard work for someone. The thing that would take you certain time to do, for somebody, they might be able to do it in their sleep. The thing that you think is a certain way, is maybe very different for somebody else. And the whole thing comes down to identity, right? How that person sees themselves. If somebody sees themselves as a very successful entrepreneur, if somebody sees themselves as a very successful investor, the kind of things that will seem easy to them will be very hard to someone else. The only cheat code to hard, easy, doing enough, not doing enough, the only cheat code to all of those things is identity. The things that you can do, the things you can think, the things you can feel, the things you can behave, every single thing comes down to your identity. And when your identity is right and aligned, the thing that somebody would think, I can never do it in my thousands life, you can do it in your sleep, and it's so easy. How things become easy, how things become natural is by shifting your identity, right? There is no such thing as hard or easy. In fact, when you take on the right identity, it's so hard not to do it because it's who you are. Taking on this concept that the more I do, the more I receive is absolutely not true. Now, the other thing which is really, really important in persistence, what I realize is that we do not spend enough time in our imagination. And this is the absolute truth. We do not spend enough time in our imagination. We just we want to think really quickly, and then we want to get on with the work, and then we want to do other things. But when you are imagining, it's much better than doing so much work. Give yourself the permission to really imagine the details. In details is the power. In details is the clarity. When you start imagining something, what you're doing is you're building a future memory of something that's already exists, because the whole reason it's a memory is because it's already exists. You have lived it, right? And when you make something so familiar to your mind, even if based on logic, it doesn't make any sense, but you make it so familiar, what starts to happen is you start to believe it. Believing is not something that some people have and other people don't. Believing is simply, what are you exposing your mind to? What I do personally, especially in the mornings or especially on the weekends, I spend a lot of time imagining. So on Saturday mornings, right, what I do is I just play my favorite songs, and every single song of mine is connected to my vision, different aspects of the life that I am manifesting. And I see myself doing that. I sometimes talk because there's nobody in the house. My kids have gone to martial art. I'm talking. It's like I'm living that. I'm talking to people. Sometimes I'm talking in my imagination. Sometimes my kids are like, who are you talking to? If they're at home, like, who are you talking to? Right? It's about making it so real. If you are seeing yourself on the stage, do you just see yourself from the far edge that you are on the stage and it's just like a far-fetched memory? Or do you actually go on the stage and you're seeing the audience? Do you actually make it so familiar for you that you have done it? You are seeing what you said first, what you said then, how did the audience respond, how did it go? Are you actually living it like you live your reality? Or you are just seeing it from far-fetched? Taking hours sometimes, if you have some time when you're driving, when you are not doing anything, to really go in the workshop of your mind and imagine. I remember Bob Proctor used to say that when he was traveling for business events and for his conferences, he would just go and sit in the hotel lobby and just start visualizing, and would just take a diary with him and just constantly write it. How much time do we actually spend in our imagination, where you are actually attracting from the quantum and you are programming your mind and your identity? The more time you spend in your imagination, the more detail you get into, the more detail. If I am imagining something, imagine the whole thing. I'm imagining that I have my office there. A client has just come in. I had this session. I said this, then this happened, then this. The whole thing. For me, it's no difference that actually I have lived it or it was just imagined. There is no difference, because there is no difference for your subconscious if it's real or imagined. The key is spending time in your imagination, using your imagination and really allowing yourself to go wild, go really see what you want to see, feel, smell, and really connect emotionally, have tears, smile, see all those things to the point where you feel it so deeply that you're like, you know what, I don't even care when it happens because I have lived it. I have already lived it. It is my reality. I decide it is my reality. And then what I do is the thing that I imagined and I saw myself in it, I bring an element of me in the physical. If in my imagination I'm being very confident, or if I'm talking in a certain way, I bring that feeling and I bring that trait and I bring that identity to my physical. I bring it. It's like you draw it in your imagination and you bring the essence of it in your physical. This is persistence. Being that. Persistence is not pushing harder. Pushing harder is causing resistance. It's like the dots are connecting, the how is happening, everything is working. And then based on your perception, it's not happening the way you assumed it to happen. And now you're questioning and now you're trying to get your way in when that's not even how it was supposed to happen. That is resistance. The real persistence is holding on to the image no matter what. The real persistence is being it. The real persistence is holding on to that energy, going in your imagination and building. The real work happens in the workshop. Where do we make things? Where are the cars made? In the workshop. Where are the things made? In the workshop. And imagination is the workshop of the mind. It's the workshop of your life. Spending time in it, sometimes really connect, like being with yourself, going to a nice place and imagining. I had this thing that anytime I would start imagining, I would say to myself, but I don't think I'm doing enough, so I should stop imagining and go and do something. I should stop imagining and better take the action. What was that? That was the proof that I'm not being, and I'm trying to overcome the being part by doing more. And no matter how much you do, you feel like you're not doing enough because the truth is you're not being enough. This identity that, I'd rather just go and do something, that is feeling safe. When I'm doing something, when I'm trying harder, I feel safe. It's not that you're being productive. It's not that you're being efficient. It's you're being safe because you find your safety in doing more. And I'm not saying you don't need to do anything. What I'm saying is that doing will be taken care of when we take care of being. Because when you say, I am a successful entrepreneur, I'm a successful investor, you will start automatically doing those things. You'll automatically start coming for these ideas. You will start automatically seeing those opportunities. You will start talking to those people. The right people will start coming. You'll bump into things. Things will start happening. I don't remember, I think it was a few months ago when I literally bumped into the right person. How I bumped into the right person, and because Bob Proctor used to say it all the time, you're going to bump into the right people. And I used to think, you're not going to bump into them. But I remember I was going in the underground in London, and somebody was coming the other way, and they were rushing, and we almost like bumped into each other, and that person was like, I'm really sorry, and then they asked me, by the way, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to the same place. And that person was the bridge of incidents for me. You would bump into people. This feeling of, I should be doing more. I should be finding how. You're safe. You are taken care of. Look at your life right now and see how many times, how many things you have manifested without actually fabricating or devising the doing so much. They just came to you so easily. When you focus more on the feeling and the being, doing will happen by itself. What I really want is, I want your doing to be 100 times more powerful. You have to do less doing. That's what I would love, because the key here is and that's where too much information gets too overwhelming for so many people, that there are so many ways to do so many things, and there are so many things in there. There is so much information, and on internet we are constantly told this person is doing that, and this is the new trend, and you have to do this. Oh my God. But if you really focus on being, what you do will be 100 times more powerful, and you'll need to do less. Sometimes we see certain people, like I always take example of Oprah Winfrey because it's really powerful one. But if Oprah Winfrey decides, I want to do a masterclass for my audience, how much effort would she need to do to make it a really successful one? Probably not a lot. She would just probably like do a practice for half an hour, a couple of hours, and she'll be ready. And she will do a masterpiece because of who she is. This is what I realized in my career after failing 8 strategies. You name a strategy to have a successful coaching business, I've tried it. And the only time when things started working for me, when I started to see myself as a successful coach. I was like, I am successful right now, and I see myself that way. And then what I started doing, I didn't even think about them. I wanted to go live and talk to people because I really wanted to share. That wasn't a strategy. I just wanted to do that. And I wanted to do more and more because I really felt like it. And the days I didn't do it, I felt like I'm missing something in my life because I was a coach. And what would a coach do? When you focus on being, everything becomes natural. Everything becomes who you are. And being comes from going in your imagination and seeing who is that version of me. How do they feel? How do they think? How do they behave? Oh, but I'm not taking enough action. Yes, you're not, because you're not being that. That's why. And when you start being that, the right action will come to you. The right opportunities will come to you. You will start behaving that way automatically. But if you're not in the right frequency, if you're not in the right feeling, no action would help. It will create more of the same. Anytime you're taking an action, there are 2 kinds of actions, and it's very important to realize that. There is one action which is the dopamine hit action. Dopamine hit action is, I'm not doing enough. Let me go and do something. And in that action has a frequency. I'm not doing enough. I'm not being enough. It's not working. And there is one action where you're like, it feels so good to do that. I got this inspired feeling. I got this sensation in my heart. I really want to do this. And that has the right frequency. That action has the energy that creates your results. And when you be more, you do those kind of actions, and the path becomes the path of least resistance.